Good evening. You've just been listening to the music of Rufus Jones and the drumming of Stuart Gunter. My name is Jamal Abdel Chaston, Artistic Director and co-founder of the Breath Project. I'd first like to start by acknowledging that we are on indigenous land of the Alumni and Constanoan tribes. And with that, I'd like to welcome you to the Breath Project's inaugural virtual theater festival, 846. 8 minutes and 46 seconds is a long time. The Breath Project was born after the world witnessed the monsterish murder of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. As artists, myself and Marika Gabori, who is the co-founder and managing director of the Breath Project, were responding to a question we were asking ourselves: what can we do? And due to family health issues, I couldn't be out marching like I used to do in the 90s. And the Breath Project was our what. It was what we could do. And Marika suggested that I write an 8-minute and 46-second monologue. Once I decided to do that, we saw the value in it, and we decided to film it at Palo Alto Children's Theater, where I am today. Marika also had a great idea. She thought, well, there must be other artists around the country responding in similar ways. Wouldn't it be great if there was a place where they can put that work other than YouTube, Facebook, what have you? Something that was more specific, and thus the archive was born. We talked a little bit about possibly taking the video we had recorded and seeing if there was some kind of virtual festivals going on around the country. And the next day I went back to her and I said, why don't we do our own virtual festival? And then from there, we settled on the idea that the festival would feature BIPOC theater artists, Black, Indigenous, artists of color. Before sheltering in, I had just returned from Cincinnati Playhouse debuting a play called Americus with Universal's Theater Ensemble. And so it made sense that that was the first call I made. I spoke with Daniel Robinson, who is the education director at Cincinnati Playhouse. And based on her offerings of resources, I walked away from that conversation understanding the power that this initiative could have and the impact that it could have. We then decided to bring on theater partners. Now, initially we were thinking maybe just 2 to 3 partners per region, and I'm happy to say that we far exceeded that with 24 theater partners across the country, from Hawaii to New York. Now, we've asked each partner to commit to several things. And understand, when we asked, the fact that they came on as partners in itself was huge, because American theater had been decimated like so many other industries across the country, 70 to 80% of staff being laid off. So once they came on board, we asked them if they could offer resources to the artists who might need them, whether they needed a video camera or a space to film in, or just support. We then asked them that they bring on a BIPOC curator so that they could curate the selections. And then we asked them that they produce live work when time would allow, to take the works that we have received and take some of that work and produce some live theater. Which brings us to this weekend. The 24 artist videos you will see over today and tomorrow, throughout today and tomorrow, we had asked those artists to be as fearless and as creative as possible, whether they filmed it in the street, whether they filmed it in their bedroom, whether they filmed it under a sheet or on a stage. Now, in this moment in time, where American history, where American theater, the idea of what theater is being challenged, we want to make sure that you yourselves are challenged, right? The capturing of this work was all about creating a living time capsule. So in finalizing our mission statement, we decided through partnership, and we were clear that it could only take place through partnership. The Breath Project's mission, along with our partners, is to utilize art, action, and advocacy. And we seek to build a more equitable theater community in this country and actively dismantle structural racism in the American theater. It's a big task, but with partners, we can do it. Now, these artists tonight have important voices that you need to hear. Their works are powerful, passionate, fearless, honest, joyful, and painful. The idea, like I said, of what American theater is in this moment is being challenged. So allow yourselves to be challenged. And at any moment, if you are feeling uncomfortable about the content, what you're hearing, and you want to get up and walk away from your screen, I ask you this, stick it out, because 8 minutes and 46 seconds is a long time. I'm sure it was long for Mr. Floyd as well. So with that said, I would like to welcome you to the Breath Project's Living Time Capsule.
Hello, my name is Tyharra Wright, a Breath Project curator on behalf of Alumni Theater Company in Pittsburgh, PA, where I am a founding member and an artistic advisor. The piece you're about to watch is called Perspectives, submitted by the Breath Project theater partner, Alumni Theater Company of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Hey, what's up, Ma? Whoa, what's wrong? Brianna? What's wrong with Brianna? Mom, slow down. What? No, she ain't, Ma. Brianna can't be. I mean, I talked to her like 2 days ago. She sounded fine. What? Police? No knock warrant? What the fuck is... Sorry, Ma. Okay, but why? Why the warrant? Drugs? What the hell would Brianna need drugs for? Somebody was getting it out of her building? Bullshit! So why were they at her house? So you're telling me that they broke into her house in the middle of the night looking for someone else? Ma, do I still have time?
We all make choices. We question if those choices are right or wrong, or whether we have a different choice to choose from. Choices can be small, like what you're trying to drink when you're out to eat, or something big and heavy that'll stick with you for the rest of your life. Did we make the right choice? Did they? Nah, scratch that. They know they didn't. They knew what they were doing. I just didn't think it would affect me like this. Even though I did everything right. Did I do everything right? We live in a world where the black man is painted as evil and does wrong. I'm a black man that does right. Is that wrong? When a white person does wrong again, no. When a white police officer does wrong against a black person, is that right? To a black person, it's not. But what about a white person? Do they see that as right? I picked up a gun and decided to defend myself and my lady. Was that right? Yes. If so, then why is it my girl on the ground dying and not me? I'm the one who shot. I'm the one who fought back. Why would the innocent bystander, why would my girl who did nothing but make her dreams come true be put down? And then why would I get arrested for defending myself against who just so happened to be police officers who were breaking into our home without warning, without announcing themselves? And yet they killed my girl and got away free with murder. Not arrested. Not even put to trial. They got fired. They put 8 shots at Breonna Taylor and got away with murder. They murdered my girl and got away free. It shouldn't have been me. It shouldn't have been either of us. In the end, it doesn't matter whether you choose right or wrong when being black is a justifiable cause of getting killed by police in America.
Dreaming, eyes closed, safe. Sound, tell me how something so clear became so cloudy. Tell me how one phone call rang so loudly I heard the words that were said but I didn't understand. Instinct led me, from pajamas and sleeping to fully clothed and speeding, thoughts clashing, pressure enhancing. Somebody tell me what the hell is happening. Why do I have to identify myself? Who are you? Words were said that led me back to the road, to a dead end, sitting and waiting for a sign to send confusion, looking at confusion again. Words were said that led me back to the road, stopping back at my first destination. Now my words had an exclamation. Somebody tell me what the hell is happening. Where is she? Where is the other part of me? They point to where she sleeps, and suddenly all the horrible events come to me in heaps. I have more questions than tears, though. Am I the only one that feels like the pieces don't fit? Is this some kind of sick trick? Who is in charge here? Because I need answers. Little did I know the answers were never really told. Stories were made up. Does anybody see what I am seeing? An innocent woman was shot. You're arresting the wrong person. The shooters are the ones with the badges. See, that's what I thought, but I didn't know. All I knew was a sister, a girlfriend, and my daughter was taken. Days passed and things I automatically saw, others began to see. Movements I didn't closely follow began to follow me. I couldn't believe the rumors I wanted to see for myself back on the road. Seems like I'm moving a lot these days, moving fast, like I'm running from the realization, trying to keep it under wraps. Looking over the revolution, I seen the face that I brought into the world as the face of a movement, no. Movements. I felt powerless, but nobody understands the extent of power I gained when I heard thousands of people screaming, say her name.
When most people are asleep, they dream of an alternate reality of what could have been or what the future might hold. That night, I dreamt of life. My life in particular. I dreamt of my loved ones, my job, my smile, my success. When you're asleep, you don't really think about whether you're gonna wake up or not. When you're in the moment of living, you never really think about what it's like to die, even before you finish living. My home was like a barrier in which I felt safe in. Never knew I was supposed to sleep with one eye open. The door that was once locked open, that barrier broken. I was scared. But not for my life. Was that a mistake? To let my boyfriend take control in protecting me, us, was that a mistake for him to fire at an intruder? Was it a mistake for them to fire back? Was my death a mistake? Right. It was all a mistake, right? You went left, so now we're wrong. The last song I heard were the harsh beats of my slow, functioning heart. The 20 minutes I laid there felt like forever. What was it again? Oh. Drugs? 8 bullets in me for drugs? Did you find any? No. Did you succeed in looking over 10 miles away from the actual crime? No. Then why am I dead? I died for nothing. Who knew my life would be stopped by the hands of an armed cop? Who knew the cops who equipped the gun would get away with murder? Wait, no. I didn't die for nothing. You're gonna get what's coming to you because justice for me is on its way.
It's been months and I still can't handle the fact that she's gone. And it's crazy how the world can continue spinning as if nothing happened at all. And no matter how hard we try, she will never get that moment of stillness and silence she deserved. The moment they all deserved. But if the world insists it keeps turning on its axle, we might as well turn with it. Turn the tides that decide our fate, turn the world to destroy our hate, and tilt the axle so the world can spin itself our way. For once. All this movement brings pain. The bullet moved through the air to destroy her body, but it couldn't destroy her name. So say it loud and say it proud with your fist up, so she won't die in vain. And tell your mamas we can do more than just pray, because Black Lives Matter. Join the movement today.
Hello, this is Montez Freeland, a Breath Project curator on behalf of City Theater Company in Pittsburgh, PA, where I am the associate producer. The piece that you are about to watch is Acting While Black, submitted by Ilasiea Gray of Denver, Colorado, home of Breath Project partner, Curious Theater Company.
Hi everybody, Ilasiea Gray here, actress, educator, activist, all around Black girl magic personified. I love doing social justice pieces and theater for young audiences. I made history here in Denver playing Sleeping Beauty as a Black actress. I also do on-camera work, and in my career, I have come across some of the most less than smart comments regarding race. And I am so excited to share some of them in a series that I call Acting While Black. Now, all of these statements or experiences actually happened. And I have to preface it with this because oftentimes Black women are not believed. So, as you gasp in disbelief or laugh because of the ridiculousness of the statements, or even embarrassed because you might have been one to have said something dumb to me, I just want to remind you all that I am actually the one who had to endure these comments, all while trying to do my job. So, everybody buckle up and enjoy Acting While Black. Start with a broad one. All ethnicities encouraged to audition. Can you give us a bit more attitude like Oprah? Whoo. When you raise the "this could be a potentially racist moment" comment for the good of the show, and everyone is silent. Followed by moments later, "that's interesting." Do you think you only get cast because you're Black? Ooh, you need to watch Bring It On. Now that one was a choreographer's implying that I couldn't dance because my body was naturally rejecting the way she was choreographing hip hop. Do you know blank? He's a Black actor too. Laughter from colleagues in response to me saying, I don't do slave roles. Can you help us find colored actors? Ooh. Oh, hair. Oh, let me count the ways. Can I touch your hair? Not understanding our texture, hair budget, knowing that braids and twists require maintenance for the long run of a show, different products that work for our hair and not others. Ooh, someone even asked me once if I went out and bought a piece because they didn't think that I could possibly naturally grow my hair this way, and this is actually my natural hair. Yeah, let's table that one because there's so many things. Did you see Blank Theater Company's statement about how diverse their season was? Well, what does that mean for me? Now I can never audition there. Welcome to the party. My former boss, when I asked why the show that should have been cast all Black wasn't, well, I wanted a multicultural cast. Is there a reason why your makeup is so dark? When I asked for my acting achievements to be highlighted in an article for an organization that I left and wasn't on good terms with, but for them to be highlighted as everyone else in the articles were, I was told not everything is a slight. Yeah. On set filming a series about gentrification and being Black in a gentrified neighborhood, after residents yelled at me about how I couldn't afford to live there, and then another drove by and hurled the N-word at me, I was told, use it for the scene. Let's not loan out the Ilasiea colored blank. Yeah. Whew, oh, thank goodness, a break. Ha! Kids say the darndest things. Bonus round, ding, 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 ding. Now, kids do say the darndest things. And as I mentioned, I'm an educator and I've worked all across the state at several organizations, in schools, many schools. I direct children's theater. I run my own programming, which is very successful. But one of the organizations that I used to work at is the largest arts organization in our state. And man, what I endured there. And you know, again, the kid comments, they say the darndest things, like I said. But when I spoke up about racism and the systemic racism specifically at this organization, ooh-wee, let's get into it. So kid statement wise, I've heard, are you from Africa? Why are your hands two different colors? Slavery is bad. Says who? I don't appreciate brown skin. This is followed by this child actually doing this to me anytime I would try to touch them because they didn't want my brown skin to touch them. Oh, my bosses told me to flag that, let it go. So-and-so is allergic to black people. Now that one I was told to ignore and not discuss with my class as well. So as I said, I am not one for the shenanigans, and as I continue to speak up about racism happening amongst children, towards myself, towards kids of color, was I put in my place. And actually, this organization was one of the most systemically racist environment I have ever been in my entire life. And that's saying a lot. So here's what happened when I continued to speak up and document for over a year. And I worked there for 5. I was put on disciplinary action. I had my job threatened. I had my classes monitored. I was forced to have weekly check-ins, one of which left me away from my class for an hour in tears. Hostile work environment. I had an acting opportunity adversely affected. Microaggressions. I was silenced and told to not speak about any of the above. The last 2 are my favorites. So this first one especially because I facilitate race conversations all the time. I tour a whole show about it. And hello. But I was told, you are not a resource to discuss race issues. And then this last one, bondage at its finest. You can't teach across the street because we need to keep you close and in the building. That, alongside with being called the N-word, is probably the most disgusting thing that has ever been said to me. I obviously had since left that organization. So, as I mentioned, to wrap all these things up, this is what happens acting while Black and educating while Black. And I just want to speak to trauma really quickly as well, because for a lot of these instances, you have to shake them off in the name of doing your job and just move on. But some instances, like my former workplace, stick with you, and that is trauma. So that's a story for another time and another series. But what I will say, theater community, do better for Black women. Respect Black women. Listen to Black women. Appreciate Black women. And believe Black women. Check your white privilege. Check your implicit bias. Check those microaggressions. And do better. Also, remember, Black lives matter. On stage and in real life. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you for my next series.
Hello, this is Danielle Betts, a Breed Project curator on behalf of Curious Theater Company in Denver, Colorado, where I'm a guest director. The piece that you're about to watch is a Choosing Sides, submitted by Josh Richardson of Edmond, Oklahoma. And now Choosing Sides, Josh Richardson.
Brother, why do you insist on following our oppressor's religion? They use that same Bible to enslave our people. You just under that slave mentality that some white man gonna come save you. Nigga, these white folks don't care about you.
What's your name, brother?
Marcus.
Well, Marcus, you sound ignorant for even saying that. Just because some evil people twisted the words of the Bible to justify slavery doesn't mean the Bible is false.
Yeah, right. Your ass indoctrinated, just following what Master tell you.
If you read, you would know that many enslaved Christians called out these slave-owning Christians for their hypocrisy, how they profess to have the love of God in them, but yet hated us.
And this is the religion you follow?
Yes, because there's a difference between professing to be Christian and walking like Christ.
You still sleep, my brother. This is why us black folks can't get ahead. Religion done held us down for 400 years. You probably one of them forgiving white folks for killing us type of niggas, like Botham John's brother.
I think it's crazy how black folks' reaction was to call him a coon or call him soft. I swear our people are our own worst enemy. That young man did one of the strongest things I've ever seen in my life.
You call forgiving and hugging a white cop for killing your brother in his own apartment strong?
Why do some black folks call an act of forgiveness weakness? Because it was to a white person? But keep grudges and beef with each other until we die or until we get them? Is that supposed to be strong? Hating your brother? The Bible says that vengeance is the Lord's.
What we supposed to do? Keep forgiving the bully? That's only going to get us killed some more.
No. You know what's going to get us killed some more often? Retaliating. What good do you think will come from just killing random cops?
Them motherfuckers will get to feel our pain for once.
So killing is all right, as long as it's cops and not us.
I see what you're trying to say, but when is enough? Enough. I mean, damn. I know deep down in the core of your soul that you tired of this shit happening to us. I don't care how all lives matter you sounded right now.
When did I say all lives matter? I will never stand for suppressing injustice for the minority. I am still a black man. I still fit the description. I still get pulled over for fake busted taillights. I still check my rearview 500 times. Matter of fact, just the other day, this white lady called the police on me for reading in my car.
Nigga, you had me scared for a minute. I thought I was going to have to drop some Popeyes in front of you to see if the nigga was still in there.
You know you stupid, right?
Yup.
Well, if you would have dropped that Popeyes off, don't forget that Louisiana and honey.
There we go. I see we waking you up in there.
So I'm a nigga because I like Popeyes. I'm pretty sure that most of the world like Popeyes.
What I'm really trying to say is what nigga do you know that doesn't like Popeyes? I'll wait.
No, not one.
You see what I'm saying?
I think you got a mental illness.
Not as bad as your white Jesus mental illness.
Come on, man. Why you gotta talk like Jesus like that?
Look at you defending that white man.
Have you even read the Bible? Since when is the hair of wool and bronze skin considered white?
So why is every picture of him as a white man?
Because people are too busy making images of him, like the Bible clearly says not to do. And besides, why does it matter if Jesus was red, green, black, blue, pink, white, or orange? People still missing the point. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. King of kings and Lord of lords.
It matters because I'm not worshiping no white man.
Why you hate the white man so much?
Because he doesn't give a shit about me. That's why I raised this fist and say Black Lives Matter. It's us against the world.
Why do we gotta be us versus them all the time?
You really want me to go into it?
Yeah.
Slavery, systematic racism, regular racism, targeting us, segregation, no reparations. What they did to MLK, what they did to Emmett Till, what they did to Eric Garner, what they did to Michael Brown, what they did to Philando Castile, what they did to Breonna Taylor, what they did to Elijah McClain, what they did to Isaiah Lewis, what they did to George Floyd. You want me to keep going?
No. I heard you pretty clear.
You see, when I say Black Lives Matter, it's not a trend. It's not an organization. It's not a political chess piece. It's damn sure nothing to profit off of. It's just a statement that says my life matters.
And I'm right there with you, my brother. Every one of those names has a different story with the same outcome. All of them gone too soon.
Way too soon.
But you know what, Marcus?
What?
There was a Black girl that I went to school with from middle school to high school. I didn't really know her, but she was loved by a whole lot of people I did know.
Okay.
She was gunned down the other day in the parking lot where she worked at.
Damn, R.I.P. to her.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Nobody knows her name. She was killed by someone that looks like her. Say her name. Brooklyn Hampton. Or let's talk about the innocent babies getting killed by stray bullets in the south side of Chicago. Let me ask you a question, Marcus. Why are we outraged when a cop kills us, but don't bat an eye when we kill us? We say Black Lives Matter, but why do we pick and choose when to say it?
Oh, so you were just a lame ass Uncle Tom ass nigga.
No, I'm just telling you the truth you don't want to hear. In reality, it's not us versus them, it's us versus us. We fight against each other all day and night. Why don't we truly believe that Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, I ain't trying to hear this shit, especially for some religious sellout ass nigga.
We're talking about Black lives, not the white ones. How can we truly better our lives without first having some accountability? We can't keep drinking the ignorance Kool-Aid.
Nigga, why can't you just support your own people during this time? You trying to tear us down and shit. We know that black on black crime is a problem. We know this. It still doesn't take away the fact that I fear for my life when I get pulled over. Why is they guns drawn on an unarmed black man? Why do they need to choke the life out of a man with your knee? Why do you need 6 officers to arrest one person? Why is our skin color such a threat?
I don't know. I don't know, Marcus.
Hi, this is Crystal Bird Caviel, a Breath Project curator on behalf of the Rude Mex in Austin, Texas, where I am an actor and theater maker. The piece that you are about to watch is Breath by Tyharra Cozier of Portland Center Stage Theater in Portland, Oregon. Thank you.
Shout out to Portland, Oregon. Coming at you from the PDX. Welcome, Breath Project. We are a group of artists who pride ourselves on creative action in a city where we have had over 100 days of protest. over 100 nights of civil unrest. To unite against the common enemy of that is oppression. In a culture of cancel, we are resisting that. And today we are calling in instead of calling out. We are asking for the unification of all organizations, of love and unity, and to remember who is the common enemy. 60 seconds in a minute to take 12 to 20 breaths. A birthright to you, and to me a brave quest, in which I must not let your hatred succeed. To kill me, rape me, pillage and take my seed. To mass produce it for hegemonic consumption, a presumption in which you thought you dutifully reap. See, to be born of kings and queens is to be born with your eyes wide open, to walk with ancestral smoke, with whose fumes tyrants start choking, whose backs and shoulders were scarred and broken, only to rise amongst the children whose mission is to heal the lies most spoken. You see, we just want to live. We just want to thrive and survive in a world that gets like me, that doesn't take from me, kill me and hide my body unless the camera turns on and airs a funeral live stream. What's the fare to cross the river Styx? Do you want my hair, my ass, my lips? You see, the heat of a gun is akin to the rough hairs of a noose. It's iron to the skin. It's the cop's trigger finger loose. A crack of a whip and my C7 rips because your hateful knee is on my neck and I begin to count my breaths.
Justice don't work like it need to. Law ain't trying to serve the people. We're only halfway out of hell. Too much talking going on. Who's gonna lead the run? Time to break free. Time to break free. Another life gone. Stand down. Can't you see what's going on? Another life gone. Man down. Struck by the heat of a gun. On the run, on the run, on the run, on the run. We're on the run, on the run, on the run. Yeah. It don't work like it need to. No, no, no. I'm not your enemy. Why you always look at me and think so? Saying we're free, but it don't feel so simple. Who's right or who's wrong? The argument goes on. Who's right or who's wrong? The argument goes on. Oh, another life gone. Man down, struck by the heat of a gun. Another life gone. Man down, struck by the heat of a gun. We're on the run, on the run, on the run, on the run. We're on the run, on the run, on the run. Oh, another life gone. Can't you see what's going on? Another life gone. Stand down, think before you unload your gun. Another life gone. Man down, this is somebody's son. Another life gone. Man down, struck by the heat of a gun. Justice don't work like it need to. Law ain't trying to serve the people. No, we're only halfway out of hell. There's too much talking going on. I'm asking who's gonna lead the run. Time to break free. Time to break free.
Breath 1, Ayanna Stanley Jones. Breath 3 through 5, Sean Bell, Oscar Grant, and Thomas Jones. Breath 12, Terrence Crutcher with his hands on a window shield. Breath 16 belongs to Mike Brown, whose death sparked protest out in Springfield. Next breath, Natasha McKenna, who struggled for 45 minutes. I take a breath for Akai Gurley, a young king with a smile and a fitted. This man, I still hear his cries for breath, Eric Garner. To my sister, Breonna Taylor, too young to die a martyr. To my children, Tamir, Trayvon, and Darnisha. To my queens, Tatiana, Sandra, and Tanisha. Be careful in a dangerous society, insidious with an unwell psyche. Knowing your rights with a secured mental will still get you shot. To George Floyd, that's 8:46, my last breath, stop the clock.
Thank you to Tyharra, Cozier, and company. The piece that you're about to watch next is Nice to Meet You, submitted by David Guster of Flint, Michigan, home of the Breath Project's theater partner, Flint Repertory Theater.
Hi, I'm David. I'm here because acting is my dream and I'm grateful to receive a good amount of financial assistance to pursue it. My favorite music to listen to? I guess it varies a lot, but I gotta say Drake. I have a lot of favorite foods, but right now, I'm really jonesing for some fried chicken. There aren't a lot of moments in your day-to-day life when someone approaches you and goes, hey, tell me your name and 3 other generic facts about you, unless you're a student at any university ever. On the first day of class, your professor sits you all down in a circle and you go around the room and introduce yourself and say random stuff about your life. Usually it's why you chose this university, what music you like to listen to, and what you like to eat. Pretty standard package. And every time I feel like I'm expected to say the same things I just said. I'm here because I'm too damn poor to go to New York. My favorite music to listen to is some kind of hip hop. And guess what? I really fucking love fried chicken. But if I say those things, I can feel all the white kids in my class mentally nod their heads like, obviously, proceed. Obviously, proceed. So I feel compelled to not say those things. I feel compelled to say that I'm here because of the prestige that comes with the university. My favorite music to listen to is Johann Pachelbel's Canon in D. And my favorite food is a tall, rich glass of skim milk. But if I say those things, not only am I A, lying out of my ass, but B, I feel like I'm coming off as too pretentious for the white kids in my class and too white for the black kids in my class. But no matter what I choose, I always end up confirming something that someone said.
Would you look at that? The black guy's here because of affirmative action. What an unfair advantage. I wish I had a leg up like that.
Interesting. He likes fried chicken. Shocker.
He doesn't speak like I do. Maybe people would take him more seriously if he spoke more properly.
I get upset with my white friends sometimes. Because of course I have white friends. You can't be a black person and climb up any social or professional ladder without having white friends. That's just the way it be sometimes. But here's the difference. I choose my white friends for no other reason than I like them. Sometimes, I feel like my white friends choose me just so they have access to certain words or trends. Like, bitch, I ain't no permission slip for you to test the waters on what you can get away with. David won't mind. He's cool. You're cool, right, David? I guess I am now. But if you ask me, white people don't have the best track record of determining what's cool. And that's why you all copy us all the damn time. That's why you all steal our hair, our clothes, our music, our voices. And that's why we change shit so often. When we hear you guys say shit like, holla at my Trap Queen squad, we be tripping all night. There's a reason why we look at you like a middle-aged suburban dad wearing socks with sandals. That's where I find the paradox of it all. I've heard black people say white people have no culture, but I don't think that's fair either. Culture is the behavior observed by a group of people, not just an individual. I feel like our country has divided us on purpose and we ended up developing a lot more differences than just our skin. And that's why white culture is a melting pot of all sorts of random shit like baseball, in-ground pools, apple pie, and avocado toast. And why our culture is working 2 jobs, treating good food like a luxury, and coming up with cool words so we can preserve something that is only unique to us. Accepting each other's cultures can help us bridge that gap, but it's the inappropriate absorption of our culture that widens it. And that's the problem, guys. Quit it. So here I am, at the school of my dreams, pursuing the career of my dreams. And I'm still sitting here, listening to my white friends butcher the African-American vernacular for no other reason than to sound funny. Still listening to white people refer to unidentified black people as LaQuisha or Tyrone, because apparently, names like that are hilarious when your name is Austin Jacobson and you have no problem landing job interviews. Still watching white people do black things whitely and expecting me to respond to their white asses blackly. Look, my biggest pet peeve is when people complain and don't do anything about it. So we gotta work together on this one. I'll promise to tell my parents to ease up on their systematic racism when I bring a white person home, as long as you promise to stop, I don't know, darkening your skin in online makeup tutorials. Yeah, people are doing that. My white friends are so shocked to see this happen, and I'm like, for real? Haven't you seen the news? This shit happens all the time, everywhere, even in your own suburb. I guess that being blindsided by racism is just another luxury of being white. And I know that some of you might think that I'm being racist against white people. Reverse racism, as some of the less educated of you call it. Here's my answer to that. No, I'm not. I'm being honest, and maybe a little impolite, but the time to stop being polite was a long time ago. So, hi. I'm David. I'm here because I was given a chance to represent people of color in the arts, and you bet your ass I took it. Nothing has ever been handed to me in my life, and that's why I needed the university to help me get to a place that most of you started at. My favorite music to listen to is Drake, because his lyrics are relatable, and I like something I can move to. And my favorite food is fried chicken, because who the fuck doesn't like fried chicken? It is very nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much, David Guster. The next piece you're about to watch is Pulse, submitted by Bil Wright of San Diego, California, home of the Breath Project's theater partner, San Diego Repertory Theater. Thank you.
I've been a dean at this college longer than I want to admit. Long enough to know most young people think everything horrendous in the world happened yesterday. History, particularly our history, is a fog, a dense fog that somehow lifted and left nothing in its absence. Being a woman who is black, a black woman with memories of several decades living in this country, time is my pulse. I check it every day, sometimes every hour, every half hour, every few minutes to see if it is strong, weak, or as my doctor says, absent. In other words, is there no sign of any pulse? Again? The first time I couldn't feel my pulse at all was in 1968 when I was 6. My father, who was a doctor, had taught me how to take my pulse. Elbow up, 2 fingers on your wrist, and wait. You wanted to feel a subtle beat under your fingers, and that was taking your pulse. My father said you wanted it to be strong, not weak, and most importantly, you always wanted to feel something. Now, I was in the hallway drawing. The newscaster had announced that Martin Luther King Jr. was shot just after 6 p.m. My mother started screaming, and my father kept saying, I knew it, I knew they'd kill him. And I remember understanding then that just after 6 p.m. was a time when a man could get shot. Eventually, my mother stopped screaming. She was weeping softly instead. And I decided I'd stay in the hallway because my father kept changing the channel and the newscasters kept repeating the same thing over and over. Martin Luther King Jr. had been shot just after 6 p.m. And I laid in the hallway in a ball and closed my eyes until I heard the newscaster again. Only this time he was saying Martin Luther King Jr. was pronounced dead just a few minutes ago at 7:05 p.m. And I don't know why, to this day I don't know why, but I put my 2 fingers on my wrist, just like my father had taught me, and I was very still, and I waited. There was nothing. Nothing at all, not a hint of a pulse. I knew I was still alive. I knew I could get up and go into my father and say, I don't have a pulse. My pulse stopped. And he said, shush, Paula. This is no time for foolishness. This is a time to be serious. Do you understand? And I said, yes, yes. Martin Luther King Jr. died at 7:05 p.m., I thought. And then a few minutes later, I had no pulse. By the time I was in high school, there was this whole argument between Malcolm versus Martin. Martin died in 1968, Malcolm 3 years earlier. I knew almost nothing about Malcolm X. The one thing I remembered more than anything was everything we read said Malcolm was pronounced dead at 3:30 p.m. On July 17th, 2014, it was a Thursday, and I didn't go to lunch until 2:30 because I knew I had more than enough of a backlog of work here to keep me until maybe 8:30. I had gone to Macy's to buy a blouse that was cool because it felt like it was 150 degrees in my office, even with the air at full blast. When I got back, I remember pressing the button for the elevator and nothing else, until I opened my eyes and realized I was on the lobby floor being propped up by the security guard. At the same time, over his shoulder, I could see the lobby clock, 3:35. Instinctively, I took my pulse. Nothing. Nothing at all. When I got upstairs, just walking through the hallway, I could feel tension everywhere. Before I could get into my office, my secretary said to me, "Bastard cop chokes a black man to death over nothing, and you watch. Won't a damn thing happen." In another office, my colleagues, 2 other deans of the college, both white men, were watching a TV that sat on one of their bookcases. The newscaster was saying, after Garner lost consciousness, he lay on the ground for 7 minutes until the ambulance took him to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Death occurred between approximately 3:30 and 3:45. At 3:35, after I'd fainted, I'd tried to take my pulse and felt nothing. Malcolm pronounced dead at 3:30 p.m., King at 7:05 p.m., Eric Garner between approximately 3:30 and 3:45 p.m. Nobody dies at approximately anything. The latest transcript from the Hennepin County Prosecutor's Office, dated June 15, 2020, posts that cop removed his knee from George Floyd's neck at 20:27, which is what they call military time, which translates to 8:27 p.m. in what they call civilian time. George Floyd was taken to Hennepin County Medical Center. Transcript says he was pronounced dead at about 9:27 civilian time, but people who were there said he was dead well before that. Transcript says at about 6, one of the cops is asked if he can find George Floyd's pulse. Cop says no, he can't get a pulse. Malcolm 3:30 p.m., King 7:05 p.m., Garner between 3:30 and 3:45, George Floyd about 9:27 p.m. civilian time, or earlier, much earlier. 2 weeks ago, I saw my doctor. He's good. He's thorough. I've had him for years. He thinks I'm a hypochondriac. He says to me, Every time you come to see me, it's the same complaint. My pulse stops. There is no pulse. I keep pressing and there is no pulse at all. He says to me, "What's the matter with you? Don't you want to live?" I say, "It isn't about me. It's about my son. I want to know that whatever this thing is that makes my pulse stop suddenly isn't hereditary, that I haven't passed it on to him. Let mine stop every day, every hour if it has to, but not his. I want him always, always to have a pulse, a strong pulse. I want him to feel himself living every second of every day, so that he never has to be laying on the filthy ground or on a metal tray. There will never be a damn report that says approximately behind his name, because there will be no question, no question. He's alive, alive."
Hi, this is Michael Jean Garces, Artistic Director of Breath Project Theater Partner, Cornerstone Theater Company in Los Angeles, California. The piece that you are about to watch is The Act of Ownership, submitted by Breath Project Curator and my fellow Cornerstone Ensemble member and Associate Artistic Director, Bruce Lemon, Jr.
I've been terrified. Honestly, that's really an understatement. I've been terrified to leave, breathe, exist for a while now. Definitely didn't want to go out. But, I'm gonna run with mom. I'm gonna run right now. Your pulmonary arrest, complicating law enforcement's of dual restraint and neck compression. Restraint and neck compression. No. I believe I'll stay right here. Balanced perfectly in the street, in front of the world. Out on the field, on the sidelines, nestled in the cervical section of your spine. Sidelines. Your mind, cervical section of your spine. This is me performing the act of ownership. Saving you from yourself. The act. Saving us from yourself. Saving you from yourself. Saving us from yourself. Badge is crooked. Legit cocked to the side. I'm alive. I'm alive. But not you. This pain is by design. Now don't fool yourself into thinking you can do what I do. Kneeling is so disrespectful. Unless you want a nigga neck. Less than 2 miles from my home, the sheriff shot John Kisley 20 times. My best friend lived on 109th Place. My babysitter on Budlawn. Dejan looks like me. Like my brother. Like my dad. A man that looks like me was murdered by the state at the intersection of my childhood. This hits me in the chest like bullets in his back. Black.
And the police say D from the sheriff. D from the sheriff. Say D from the sheriff. D from the sheriff.
We've been marching, we've been burning, we've been raging, we keep dying. So now what? Somehow, through the pandemic and that perfect pause where the sky cleared up and dolphins came back to Venice, I thought there was something happening. Change. When white people, all people hit the streets, suddenly understanding that Black Lives Matter means exactly that. Black Lives Matter. I thought we'd get a mark. I hoped. I needed to hope. I chose hope. I thought we collectively drew some kind of line. Then a 17-year-old white killer, Kyle Rittenhouse, driven and armed by his mom to a whole other state to pop AR-15 rounds into 3 people, killing 2. Walked past the police with people screaming, "He just shot these people!" Makes it home. Back across state lines. Evil ass defense action on TV. The fucking president again refuses to condemn this shit. I'm done. Can't. No more. They tried to implicate Valentilla in a crime syndicate. What the fuck? After they killed her in her own home. I was just jogging. George was calling for his mom. She just passed away 2 years prior. She was gone. I just hope you saw her. don't have a happy ending for this piece. I wish I did. But at least we got each other.
Hola, I'm Herbert Seguenza, playwright in residence at the San Diego Repertory Theater and also founding member of Culture Clash. I have the privilege to collaborate, direct, and edit the following video you're going to see by the Colectivo de Dramaturgos de Puerto Rico, a great group sharing resources and rebuilding theater community in Puerto Rico. The piece is called Inhala, Exhala, Inhale, Exhale. After this performance, after this video, we're going to have a Q&A after this performance. So stick around, and we'll see you after. Enjoy. Thank you.
Una mujer embarazada arrulla al bebé que carga en el vientre.
Inhala, exhala. Ahora mismo tú estás respirando líquido amniótico para fortalecer tus pulmones. Ese líquido entra por tus fosas nasales y por tu boca y vuelve a salir. Pronto vas a entender que en este mundo se respira aire, oxígeno, mi amor. Ya pronto serás incapaz de inhalar agua. ¡Wow! Todo comienza en el agua. Pero aquí se respira aire, mi amor.
La misma mujer da a luz.
Exhala. Respira. Sí, respira. Todo este aire es para ti, mi niña. Ojalá siga siendo así y nunca te quiten el aire. Para todas y todos.
Para todas y todos.
Fourth grade.
Cuando tenía 9 años,
The bell had just rung and we were clamoring to get to our next class.
mientras jugaba en el patio de la escuela, un muchacho empujó a mi mejor amigo tirándolo al suelo.
Striped t-shirts and topskin bell bottoms, 70s and full bloom.
Él creyó que había sido yo. Furioso, me dio un puñetazo en la boca del estómago que me dejó sin aire.
I can't breathe.
I was exiting one classroom door, he was exiting another. I don't know why he felt so inspired if I had done something or said something, or maybe he just didn't like me, or maybe he learned it at home.
Desesperado traté de dar grandes bocanadas intentando respirar, pero no me entró el aire. Perdí el conocimiento.
Spick Jew! Dripping in venom, with the hate that propels a racial slur. Spick Jew! Hurtling through the air and landing like a punch in the stomach. Bernie Schwartz, a Jew, like me.
Pero ahí aprendí que se puede perder la vida en un instante por una equivocación o por un arranque de ira.
Bernie, do you remember? I do.
I was sitting at a bar in New York City some time ago. I ordered a vodka tonic, dash of lemon. So the bartender comes over. You know, they always want to talk. You want another one? No, thanks. You're from the city. No. Where are you from? Puerto Rico. Oh, you're visiting. Yeah. Some friends down in the village. Yeah, but where you from? I mean, originally, I told you, Puerto Rico. You're Puerto Rican? Oh, you don't look Puerto Rican.
I can't breathe.
I mean, you don't have an accent. I'm supposed to have an accent. Yeah, they talk funny, like our cooks. They're darker than you are. Boy, are they loud. Loud? What do you mean?
I can't breathe.
Boss had to shut up one of them last Friday. His brother was shot by police, drug problem. Shot right in the mouth. Bang! Couple of times. Blood all over the place. Stopped breathing, I guess. Well, gotta go. Nice meeting you. Enjoy your stay and you pay your bill at the cashier. Come back soon. I never went back.
Ha vuelto a sangrar la herida, despertando un gran coraje. Tu muerte es un mensaje que tenemos que afrontar. Quien lo calle otorgará y le pondremos el sayo. Yo por eso no me callo, mientras pueda respirar. Al racista hay que enfrentarle, y aunque amenazarte osara, hay que mirarle a la cara antes de que sea tarde. Como a un niño, hay que educarle, con ejemplo hay que sembrar. No me pienso acobardar, contra lo injusto batallo, y por eso no me callo, mientras pueda respirar.
I survived. Not this one, but AIDS. Por favor, tanto sufrir para ser gay. No puedo respirar.
I can't breathe.
Esta vez fue el corazón el que me traicionó. Papi, ¿qué me hago sin ti, mi amor? Bills must be paid. Is there any money left?
Nunca le debí nada a nadie.
Lying in a hospital bed, I did not hesitate.
No more meds.
I finally said, almost 48 hours ago, I think, not sure, you came back. Were you here last night? No more machines.
Please.
Want to breathe on my own. I can hear you. But me, I don't have the strength for any more words. Palabras fui. Poesía seré. Dos policías me agarran, uno por el cuello, otro por los pies, y me sacan del agua. Me tiran a la acera.
What do you think she is?
Can't be a fucking man.
Me toman el pulso.
Fucking things alive.
Me quitan la ropa.
Hey, miss. Maybe if you put this club up her crack hole, it'll talk.
They laugh.
Oh, it said something.
Cierro los ojos. Recuerdo los peces mordiendo mis pies. El amanecer esclareciendo el agua azul clarito. They kick my body.
Miss, can you tell me your name?
I look at him straight in the eye. Puta.
I can't breathe.
Si tuviera que imaginar un acto político que en la utopía lograra levantar una ciudad, este sería representado por jóvenes valientes que marchando por las calles prenden fuego en las plazas y marcan edificios con spray. Los jóvenes danzando sobre lo inerte reviven el cuerpo muerto. Esos cuerpos que como el río nunca son los mismos. Ese cuerpo de Río Piedras que delira pausado sobre los libros gastados de la universidad. Ese cuerpo de agua contaminado que se limpia con las pisadas de los jóvenes, con sus ganas de cambiar el mundo, sus movimientos vivos, soñadores, imaginarios y utópicos.
Has there ever been a time in our human existence when breathing has been this dangerous, this precious, this lonely? I want to breathe with you, to sigh and exhale of relief with all of you. You breathe first. I'll inhale and imagine your scent. Imagine the warmth of what it's like inside your lungs near your heart. Now my turn. You see my chest rise and fall? The pulse in my neck? It's right here, under my mask. Can you see it? Someday we will breathe together again, taking a breath, holding a breath, and letting our breath go free. Imagine.
Please give a virtual round of applause to all of the actors and directors and writers and videographers and everyone involved. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Jamal Abdel Chasten, Artistic Director of the Breath Project. And wow, that was really, really enriching to watch. I've watched them many times, but it seems like in this particular moment, it even spoke to me louder. We're going to start with our talk back. If there's any audience members who have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat and they'll find their way to me. But I'm going to start with a few questions that I have, and we're just going to kind of go down the list. And Shakira, anyone else here from Alumni?
I don't think so. I think it's just me right now.
All right.
There may be other people in the audience.
Talk about, I was curious about, you know, that piece, Perspectives, has just that, it has different points of view. And I want to just kind of investigate, like, what was that like and for you or whoever wrote the piece to investigate those different sides of the story?
So I was tasked with putting this piece together and directing it. So I did not write it. Those kids that you saw perform that, they also wrote those pieces. I told them to go and look up what happened to Breonna Taylor, get as many facts as you can, and I want each of you to write about her story, a spoken word in this person's perspective, and I gave them each a perspective of who they're going to be, who they're writing for, and you know, it came back with those pieces. And
has just that, it has different points of view, and I want to just kind of investigate. Like, and for you or whoever wrote the piece to investigate those different.
Okay, that was it. And they came back with those pieces, and I just coached them on the delivery, and I helped put together the order of which the videos would go in, and Charlize Dawson, another member of Alumni Theater Company, who is a fabulous person and artist all the way around, filmed this for us, and that was it. Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you now, Jamal.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah. Some things have come out since then, right? Like in terms regarding the case, like the settlement and, you know, the Attorney General, whoever, and like, so are you guys thinking about digging in anymore and investigating that deeper, or where are you at with that?
I haven't thought about it. Actually, we might, maybe we will, maybe we'll revisit and dig more into the new facts of the piece, because I actually just, HC has a news article that we put out, and I just wrote an article talking about the newer facts of the Breonna case, and I was just really upset about it. And
and how they're trying to find like more dirt, basically, right?
Yeah, I just don't understand how are they getting charged for the shots that missed her, the shots through her wall, and nothing is happening to the cop that killed her. It just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, like much of where we are now makes no sense.
Honestly, none of this makes any sense.
Right.
Racism is a disease.
Thank you so much, Shakira, for your work. Thank you. And is Alicia Garza here? Alicia Gray, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right here.
Well, yeah, hey, I just messed up your name. Of course I had to do that, right?
There's a lot of vowels in my name, so you know.
You know, I'm just thinking about your piece. I was like, how dare I mess up her name?
It's all good. Story of my life.
First of all, I'm really glad to meet you, even though virtually, and thank you so much for your heart and your work. It's been really fun to watch. And I just want to say, so if anybody out there who's an artist of color, Black, brown, you know, you've probably come across some of these comments and questions that you've encountered yourself. I know I have. And my question is, like, since you've written this piece, have you notice any difference in how people are you know, when it comes to those kind of topics, how people are dealing with you, or is it just more of the same?
I'm gonna say it's more of the same. And I think that's part of like the disappointment and artists of color fatigue. Because a few of those incidents actually happened this year. Like, I know the web series incident was like the Sunday before the Thursday of closures for COVID. And I kid you not, I remember still being so traumatized by like being called the N-word with someone driving by, and like just my safety being in jeopardy while doing my job, and being told I couldn't afford to live somewhere. Like, there was so much going on for me in addition to just trying to get through the job and film, right? But going home in that entire week sifting through like trauma. And it's not an exaggeration for people of color, we know this, but to white people, it's hard to explain. Like, that was a traumatic event. And now it's COVID, so I felt like I better shut up. I can't be the Black girl talking about being traumatized by race because we're in a pandemic. And it was like, you know, kind of indicative of then what happened with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor, where it was like, now people are realizing Black people have to live with trauma of racism on top of the other things. You know what I mean? So yeah, that had happened to kick everything off. And then literally, you know, like even one of those incidents with the makeup being dark, that was literally me being on set in August, something that had happened. And like thankful as an artist to even be filming something, right? Like gratitude there, but it's like at what cost? Now I'm uncomfortable on set. I have a rift with my agent because of just everything that transpired due to the cultural insensitivity on that shoot for 9 hours.
Yeah, it's definitely some deep waters to navigate through most of the time, right? But thank you for putting that out there, and thank you for doing that work. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mr. Josh Richardson, I'm sorry, Josh Richardson, are you here? Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me scroll. There you go. How you doing, brother?
Good. How about you?
I'm good. Welcome, man, and thank you for your work. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming tonight. My question about your piece is, are those two sides of yourself conflicting in any way, or is that something you just kind of like? Where are you in this piece?
Yeah, it was sort of like in myself, like being a Christian man, thinking about like the culture versus the kingdom of God, and how culture might tell you this about certain things about like, well, hateful towards like police officers or anything, or like white people, or like, and what the word of God says. It's just like conflicted within myself with being like emotional or being walking in truth and knowing that like vengeance is the Lord's and stuff like that.
Being Black and following God becomes complex, especially in this moment in time. Is what I think I'm hearing from you. Yeah, that's real deep and interesting. And how long ago did you write that piece? Was it for the Breath Project, or did you have something already in the works? Or
I wrote it this summer in Denver. I went to the summer intensive writing that Curious Theater had, and then it just came to me like that, just thinking about all the like everything with George Floyd, and then how I can like put it out there in my work, in my own way of writing. It was just this over the summer.
Beautiful work, man. Definitely appreciate your point of view. This is necessary, and maybe not something we always think about, but yeah, you know, trying to walk a straight path, and you're out here, there's a lot of crooked paths in front of you. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for sharing the work.
Thank you for having this platform to be able to speak and use our voices for something bigger than ourselves.
Thank you. Yeah, let's change. Someone have their mic on? We got. Thank you, Josh. All right, we're gonna move down to Tyharra Cozier. And
Hi.
correct my pronunciation if it wasn't right.
It's, can you hear me? I don't even know if this.
I hear you. Yep.
Hey, it's Tyharra Cozier.
Tahirra Cozier. Okay. First of all, I just want to say thank you. What was cool about your piece, you know, it was nice whenever we had moments that shifted the tone, right, and kind of like took us somewhere else. And you know, it's a music piece, but it also is very theatrical. It has, you know, spoken word in it, and it was just done beautifully, and just really enjoyed it. When you found out about the project, what was your first thoughts? Was this a piece that, kind of like what I just asked Josh, was this a piece that you already had in the works, or was this something that you constructed for the event?
Okay, so the only piece that I wrote was the poem. The song is called Supermoon, and that is already a song that Danny Danger, who is the lovely woman singing on it, she had already created with those group of artists too. So the one thing that we're trying to do in Portland is just merge industries. So when I got asked to do the project, I was already trying to look for some way to work with these really incredible musicians that are in town. So I was like, bet. And then I had already been kind of writing the poem. So this was kind of just a catalyst for us to just come together and, you know, create something to submit. So yeah.
Very dope. And what is your background? Like you were reading the poem, are you an actor as well, a writer? Obviously a writer.
Yeah, so I am an actress in town. I do theater, I do film, and then I'm a writer. And then during the day, do real estate. So I just be wearing all types of hats.
I keep it going. Oh, well, thank you again for the piece. And like we were listening to it here, and there's some nice speakers. They're listening down the hall as well, and it just sounded so good in the hallway. I was like, man, I gotta listen to this track when I get home. So
thank you. Follow Danny Danger on Spotify. She got the whole song on there. So
all right. We'll look for that for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. David Guster. Unmute that mic, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm talking to you like I know you, because I just feel like I know you. That's all.
Yeah.
I feel like I know you. Where are you? My question for you is, where are you now in this evolution? Like, it was really interesting hearing. I love the way the piece starts with this classical music. It kind of throws you off guard a little bit. Where are you now with this evolution in terms of your processing this struggle between, you know, being where you are in institution and having these white friends and having to kind of maneuver through that, and where are they as far as you might know? Like, has any shift happened for them toward you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, so this piece was actually written my freshman year of college. I'm a junior now. It was a piece that I did for a showcase, a directing students like showcase. And I think since then I have learned to genuinely just be unapologetically me. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are things that I just genuinely like to do. Sometimes I'm just, you know, a little much for, you know, these white people at these institutions, and I'm just learning to not care. You know, this is who I am. I cannot keep, you know, making you guys feel comfortable because, you know, I'm just a little too loud sometimes, or you might hear the music coming out of my headphones and it's like some hip hop or rap music that you just, you know, makes you feel like a little uneasy about, you know, like I got to stop feeling like I have to cater for these people in power in order to make myself feel better. Cause I think it, you know, it just drains you. It takes away from everything that I stand for and everything I believe in. And so I think that I've spent much time, you know, trying to do that, and also just educating these white people around me, which kind of gets a little tiring, you know, but I think that they just sometimes live in like ignorance and not really knowing the like severeness of like these things that I like talk about all the time, you know, these things that I hold dear to my heart. And, you know, just like making sure that if they are people that want to be around me and be involved, you know, in my life, then they got to understand like there's some education that comes with it.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And also, like, you know, along with our mission, like what we're trying to do, right, is like, you know, tear down the systemic racism in American theater. And you just talked about having to kind of like, you in the past, it sounds like you've had to kind of like suppress some of who you are, you know, and now you're at the point where you're like, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore. Was there a turning point for you, or was it just a gradual kind of
Yeah, I think my freshman year, I just spent a lot of time watching my peers. You know, they kind of, you know, rise at these like quick levels in the theater game. Like, I'm like, damn, I'm like trying to keep up. I don't know. I feel like I'm working really hard. I'm just tired of working this hard. And it just took me having to like trust that, you know, the work that I'm doing is enough and me being myself is enough. And, you know, just all these like comments that you hear all the time. I was getting comments specifically about this festival that they send like the college students to. They bring in like adjudicators to every show, and then they select students to go into this festival. And I went from freshman year not having any nominations to sophomore year having 2 nominations. And then the comments that came with that are like, you know, the people like the stuff that people say like, oh yeah, you know, you only got to pick because they are trying to you know, they're trying to nominate more people of color, so they picked you. Or, you know, it just took like hearing enough comments of stuff like that for me to be like, you know what, F that. You know, I'm talented. This is the hard work that I'm putting in. It's being recognized, and it just is what it is. And this is who I am. And, you know, that's all I can bring to, you know, every project that I'm along with.
Well, you're very talented, brother, and along with everyone else here, and whatever role we can play in facilitating that, we will try to do. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for doing what you do.
I appreciate you.
Next, Mr. Bil Wright for Pulse. Is Mr. Bil Wright in the house? I don't see Mr. Wright. All right, I'm gonna keep it moving here. Bruce Lemon Jr.
Right here.
How you doing, sir?
Fantastic. How you doing?
All right, doing great, man. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting us and doing everything you've done, and especially with you. Thank you for your, you know, blessing us with your talent. The question I had about your piece is, I probably have a few questions, but one thing you talked in the first part, it seemed like you were talking about the fear, right? The fear of, I don't want to go out, you know, I'm afraid to go to sleep and those kinds of things. And just being an African-American male living in Los Angeles and especially in this moment in time, how do you find, like, what do you do with that fear, right? Like, is this something that you learned to embrace? Is it something that you kind of had to disregard? Like, give us some education on that.
That fear is kind of a part of everyday life. Like my what qualifies as a safe situation or a safe environment for me, like the bar is really low. And that's because of my existence. It's because of what has happened in my neighborhood as I've grown up, because of the things I've seen and things I've been around. Like my bar for like what I deem a safe environment, it feels pretty low. So that fear is a part of how I walk through the world every day. And I make an effort in my life to run towards fear in most cases, because I find that, you know, if it scares me, odds are something I need to do, something I need to embrace, something I need to confront. But I think that is a byproduct of me having to find a way to constructively use the fear that is trapped within me every day, just living in this country, you know.
Yeah. And then you also talked about the hope, right? And you know, the latter part of that piece, you were talking about hope, and give us like transition from that fear to hope. Like, how does that play into your life right now?
I'm typically a very hopeful person, very optimistic. You know, I like to think the best and hope that everything is going to be okay. You know, a lot of the times you're faced with the reality that that's not going to happen. You know, that's just not going to be what the case is. So it's a matter of like, well, what can I find hope in? And what I find hope in is my family and my community, my relationships, and the people that hold me up, and the circles that I get to run in, and people I get to use in the building of my life and to give back in the building of their life. Like, that's where I'm able to find that hope. So even when it looks like it's not going to get any better, or, you know, when convictions are in the news, but you know nothing's going to happen, you know, like when all this stuff happens, it's really hard to find where you're supposed to be hopeful about, because time after time we're shown that it's not going to happen. Even in the recent case, you know, in the when the grand jury's results for the Breonna Taylor case, you know, there was a lot of hope out there that something was going to happen, you know, and then once again, same thing, and even worse, because like the face of that inaction is one of ours. So it's like, where do you find that hope? You got to find it where it's familiar, and that's in us.
Well said. Thank you. And for like a lot of these works, we definitely, for all of them, we again, one of the things we're looking for down the road is for some type of live production. Do you have any, in which your piece in particular, like for me, when I first saw it, there was kind of like this outer inner body experience that I felt not only I was having, but maybe you were having, right? Like it was kind of like, because you had the video and then yourself on the stage kind of having this moment. So do you have any plans to do more with that piece in general, or just, you know, keeping it at 846 where it is now?
No, I think it's made to be experienced live in person in a theater with everybody. So when we get to a point where we can do that safely, or we find a way where we can do that safely under conditions that we're in, that's how it should live. That's why everything is so isolated and solo. Like everything, the footage, the editing, the sound, the setup, like everything was me. So it was all self-contained. So like nobody needs to get close. We can figure out a way to do this next week if we need to. But yeah, the plan is to do it safely in community with other artists from the area, as the plan has always been.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And, you know, we'll keep pushing forward. Thank you. Yeah, I just want to let the people watching the audience know that theater artists, live theater artists are just that. And so for us to be where we are now, where we're kind of relegated to standing behind a camera or doing things maybe like, you know, with 3 or 4 people sitting around us, you know, or spreading people out and social distancing, it's not ideal for our profession. So we are really eager and wanting to get back to what we do. But in the meantime, just understand that for the artists to go the route that they did and to commit to that is just, it was big, because again, it was kind of going against some of what a lot of us, you know, practice daily, right? Being on stage in front of people. So just again, a huge round of applause to the artists who took on those challenges, especially trying to get the piece within 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And last but not least, el Colectivo de Dramaturgos de Puerto Rico. Okay.
Yeah, very good.
Inhala, Exhala. And Herbert, definitely talk to us about there's a few things about the piece that I really enjoyed. First of all, it seemed like it was very multi-generational, right?
Yes. Yes.
Which I really love that. It had those voices. So speak to me about that a little bit first.
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me as a curator, first of all, because I really believe that unless progressive Latinos and progressive Blacks get together, our voices are not going to be heard. You know, we gotta join together. And I think it was really smart of you guys to bring in Latino voices, in this case, Puerto Rican voices from Puerto Rico, because our struggles are very similar. They're connected, right? They're totally connected. We're all a product of colonialism. But anyway, I feel like I gained 9 new friends. The Colectivo, I think, is 10 people, but in this case, it was 9 people. They all wrote 100 words each, I think, in order to, you know, it was pretty scientific. They all wrote about 100 words in order to put it together for an 8-minute, 46-second video. And and these guys are just amazing, just big hearts, and I just love them all. It was just a great connection. Me as a Chicano to connect with Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico, you know, so we made that connection too. So Bridget, I think Bridget, I'd like to bring out Bridget, because Bridget was the coordinating force behind it, I think. There she is.
Yes, anybody from El Colectivo, please unmute your microphones and join us, please. And then I wanted to, wanted to ask
Hi.
about, hello, Bridget. Thank you for the work you've
Hello.
done. Hello. I wanted to also ask, like, so Herbert, you have obviously your background is in ensemble work as well, which is, which has inspired a lot of my work and Universe's work, obviously. And I just wanted to talk about what it was like, Bridget, you can answer this, of course, as well, and Yetta, what it was like to work as an ensemble in this environment, especially, everyone was on Zoom, so I'm assuming you guys weren't in the same place, and to having to put that work together.
It was really challenging, but it was a lifeline. I mean, we had started to do a project in January where we were all writing 10-minute plays on a theme. And then March came, we were writing, and March came, and we just all decided to get on Skype at first, and then Zoom, and workshop the plays together. And it became sustaining. It became something that really kept us going, kept us creating in a time where creating felt, I don't know if anybody remembers at the beginning of the pandemic and even in the middle of it, or we are in the middle of it, it was like, what's the point? Your bandwidth, you didn't feel like you had enough bandwidth to create because of the stress and anxiety and the not knowing. So having to show up every Monday with pages and to read with each other was just so life affirming and sustaining for all of us. I don't know, what do you guys think, Tere and Jetta?
Take it away, Tere and Gil. Dale, hablen ustedes.
Tere.
Oh, hi. First of all, congratulations to all the artists. I think it was a fantastic evening. I was very inspired by all the work and related to so much of it. Being a Puerto Rican, so thank you. I think the collective, it's been wonderful for us. It just has, as Bridget was saying, has kept us together, has forced us to create at a time when it's so needed, when we can pour all the mix of emotions that we are living as human beings between the pandemic and racism and everything that's going on is so overwhelming. So having a collective has been just a fantastic way to keep us focused and to express how we feel about such in such an overwhelming time. So yeah, I agree with Bridget. I waited 5 hours today to vote here in New York today. So it's listening to, all this work is just reaffirming of why I had to do that today. And I just feel like, yeah, united as artists and as a country, we're just, hopefully we're just going to get over this. It's just, I don't think it can get any worse. So art just brings so much hope to all of us. So thank you.
Thank you. And I think Herbert said it well when he said, we need to, come together, progressive people of color need to come together, and also with our allies to move us forward, right? There's, as cliche as it sounds, there are strength in numbers. And if we have the right numbers and the right passion and heart, then, I think a lot is possible. Anybody else from Colectivo have anything they want to add before we close out?
Gil, are you there?
Habla, Gil.
I'm here, but there's a lot of noise here. I'm in a party because I missed my electricity, so I have to go to another house. And there's a party here. But I'm pleased to be with you guys. Yes, I'm so honored to be with you guys. I enjoy it so much, and we have just one voice. It's the voice of hope. We as writers, we have a strong voice. We are the voice of the hope. And I have to thank you for this big, huge opportunity for all of us. And I'm so glad to be here and to listen to this wonderful experience. You know, we are doing theater in other levels. So we are creators. So this is perfect for us. The moment pushed us to do other things. So we are here writing and enjoying the work of other artists. So thanks for that.
I want to say, yeah, and I want to add something now that he spoke as a Puerto Rican too. I just think this is a specific, a very important moment for Puerto Rico, the whole movement going in the United States. I mean, I do believe, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What's going on with what has been going on for Puerto Rico for so many years it's just been such a big injustice. And I think it's about time that, I mean, I know that Maria brought a lot of awareness in the United States about Puerto Rico and our political situation. So I'm just hoping that this whole movement, Black Lives Matter and BIPOC movement, just brings more and more awareness, because it is really a very unjust on Puerto Rico. So it is wonderful for the Colectivo to have this opportunity now that you guys are at this platform, so that we'll have voice to talk about Puerto Rico. And
Thank you so much for saying that. And it is our plan to continue to stay connected to all of you, and to work with you. And that's the plan moving forward. We're actually in the process of planning what the next step will be. You know, obviously before we can get to live production, because we're not sure when that might be. But please feel free to come back tomorrow at 5 o'clock for the last show. And thank you so much, everyone, for your talent, your heart, your time, your passion, and your love. And with that, I want to say adios, and we will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Okay?
Yes, of course.
Thank you, everyone.